good morning, Predicted Trades family. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's jump in with a quick review. So, yesterday we opened in a downtrend and dumped down to some key levels where we turned around, went back up, and then ended up pretty much settling wedging on the day. If we take a look at SPY, it dipped right down to our 380 and right back up to 383 and then just kind of settled. Little breakdown late in the day and then right back up. But ultimately opened around this 383, 382, and now we're about to be opening around this 381.5. So pretty simple today. We start to lose that 381.5. We're going to revisit 380, and if we lose that, then it's down to 378. But if we can hold 381, start to get through 383, then we can make it up to that 385, 386 above. On ES, this 3855 is pretty much, aligned with 381.5. This 380 pretty much aligned with this 3843. So kind of the same premise. We do have a nice 1 hour squeeze going into today, whereas yesterday it was a little more open to move around. So we've got a tight range. Let's see where this 1 hour squeeze takes us. We're about to be opening it near the bottom. And we're about to be opening in a downtrend. I'm sure our MAs are, yeah, we are through our MAs. We were bouncing off of them. And now we're slipping below them. Economic calendar. Let's take a quick look because there's not much going on today. Just some pending home sales at 10 a.m. Tomorrow we have our jobless claims, Friday PMI. So overall, let's see if we can hold pre-market low, the bottom of these squeezes. If not, then we're going to slip down to yesterday's low near this 3843. Looks like ES got all the way down to about 38, 37. So a little zone of support below in this 1 hour squeeze. If we can't hold that 3855, 3852 pre-market low, then we'll visit this zone for support and a bounce to get back through. If we can get going to the upside, we got to get through 3870, pretty much your pre-market high. Where we were topping out yesterday, we only peaked above 3870 a little bit. If we can clear 3870, looking to get to 3878 where the daily 8 sits, and up to 3900, 3906 where the daily 50 sits. And the daily 21 now coming down inside of that 3922. So those are targets to the upside if we can start to break this wedge up and fire this 1 hour squeeze up. But as you can see, we're still held down from the trend line from last Thursday's highs, or the overnight highs, and Tuesday's overnight highs yesterday. So pretty much just wedging in on all this price action. So keep an eye on that wedge bottom. If we start to slip it here and bounce, we need to get back above it and take off to the top of the wedge. Otherwise, we will start to fire this wedge down. We'll revisit these lows that make up the wedge, right? So if we start to lose yesterday's low around 38.37, then we need to be looking at Friday's low around 38.20. This 3807.5, and then last week's low at that 3788.5. So those would be your downside targets if this wedge starts to break down. We'll go ahead and move on. NQ. So NQ definitely a little weaker. So today, it's all about 10,900 and 10,850. Even last week's low, that 870. As long as we can hold there and start to get back over 10,950, looking to get up to 11,000 and 11,150 where the daily 8 sits. But if we do start to break down and lose that 850, that 870, 850, then we want to be targeting 10,656. Down at the bottom of this daily squeeze. Or is it a two-day squeeze? Yeah, so that's upside and downside targets for NQ. Moving on to Ready. And Ready just kind of sideways in this range. Alert. So on Ready, let's see if we can hold yesterday's lows near that 1755. If we start to lose that, coming down to 1750 and maybe down to 1735, last week's low. But if we can hold up, looking to try to get back up. Through this zone that we just rejected around 1770 and push up to 1780, 90, 1800 where the daily 21 sits. YM. At least YM looks a lot better. It actually looks like the opposite of NQ. YM in a bit of an ascending wedge, NQ in a bit of a descending wedge. So on YM, let's see if we can hold the overnight low around 33,400. We have the daily 8 here as well. If we start to lose that 400, we're going to come down to 300 to kind of test yesterday's lows and this range, this zone of support. As you can see, we slipped to it yesterday and then held above it. So if we start to slip today, looking to hold again there at this 1 hour squeeze bottom, try to work our way up above 33,500 and the daily 21, daily 15 at this squeeze top. And then if we can get going through yesterday's pre-market high, looking to get up to 33,650 and 33,800. But if we start to break down and if we lose at 33,300, and then we're coming back to this daily 50 at 33,150, and then down to 33,000 at the bottom of this 4 hour squeeze. Apple. Apple had it. There we go. Apple had this slip early yesterday down to our zone where it settled and got loaded up. So overall, looking for us to hold that zone today if we do slip early at that 128.5, 129. If we can hold that and start to get through pre-market highs around 130.5, looking to get through at 131 and try to fight back to that 132.5, 133 at the top of this 2-hour squeeze. But if we start to lose yesterday's low in this zone, the next stop will be that 27.3-ish. AMD. You know, in AMD, you can very easily grab last week's low and attach it to Monday's low. Come on. And that's your zone of support. If we start to lose this zone of support and lose 62, then you want to be targeting 60, 59-ish. But if we can hold up at this zone and start to push to the upside, looking to get through 64 and back to 65, 65.5 above where the daily 8 sits. Amazon. You can basically draw a zone from last week's low, connect it to the pre-market low, and that's currently your zone of support. If we start to lose 82.25, then we want to start targeting 81.3 and 80 to the downside. But if we can hold this zone of support, looking to get up through 83.5 and then try to engulf yesterday back to 85, 86 where the daily 8 sits. Google. Basically, let's see if we can hold 87 today. If we start to lose 87, then we want to target 86, last week's low, and then 85. But if we can hold 87, looking to try to get back above 88, make it up to 89, 89.5 where the daily 8 sits, and then maybe fight through 90 up to the daily 21, daily 15, which are in this zone around 91.5, 92. Check on GS Finance. Basically just down in this range. If it starts to lose 340, we want to be targeting 335, 334. But if we can hold 340 and start to make our way back through 343, to the upside you want to be targeting 345, 348, 350. Meta. Held up surprisingly well yesterday and at its daily 21. So it's all about can 116 support us and this daily 21 at 116.5. If we can hold that 50-cent range, looking to get up through 17.5 and start to work our way back. Yesterday's highs around 118.5 and back to 120, last week's highs. But if we start to lose that 116, we want to be targeting 115, 114, where the daily 50 sits and near last week's low, and that 113.5. On Microsoft, it's all about can we hold 235, 236 at the bottom of this 2-hour squeeze and start to make our way back up. If we can get through 238, targeting that 240, 241 above where the daily 50 sits. But if we start to lose that 236, 235, targeting that 232.5 and 230 to the downside. Netflix. A little weaker yesterday and getting down near 280. So you could basically draw a 3-point range from 277, last week's low, to 280. That's your zone of support. If we can hold that today, looking to get back above 285, 290 where the daily 50 sits, and 295, 297 where the daily 8, daily 21 sit. But if we start to lose 280, we want to target last week's low at 277, and then 275, 270. NVIDIA got really beat up yesterday. Looks much different than AMD. And we're getting down near the third Keltner, which sits at 136.5. And I got a key level at 135. So that's your zone of support. If we can take out pre-market lows, we want to target that 135, 136 to get to. If we can hold up and start to move back over 141.5, looking to get up, back up to where we were yesterday around 145, 147. QQQ. So basically, on QQQ, it's can we hold 262.5, 263? That's your zone of support. If we can hold here at this 1 hour squeeze bottom, looking to get back up to the top around 264.5, 265. If we can clear that, looking to get back up to engulf yesterday, back to 267, 268. And if we're really feeling spicy, 270. But if we start to lose this 262.5, then we want to probably target 260 to the downside. 260, 258. SPX. Basically just stayed in the tight range yesterday, right? Got down to that 38.15 and then held up. Let's see, we're going to be dealing with a tiny gap up. So overall, keep an eye on 38.20, 38.15 as support. If we do have a little slip at open, if we can hold up there and start to get over 38.50, targeting 38.60 where the daily 8 is, 38.90 where the daily 50 is, and 39.00 where the daily 21 sits. But if we start to lose that 38.15, targeting 38.00, 37.80, 37.65, last week's low. On SPY. That's not what I wanted. So today, all about 381, 381.5. That's your immediate zone of support. Looking for that to try to hold and bounce us early. Up to this 383 where we were topping out yesterday, top of the squeeze. If we can get through 383, trying to get back to 385-ish where the daily 8 sits. 386 where the top of this 4 hour squeeze sits, and maybe even that 388 where the daily 50 and the daily 21 all sit. But if we start to give out that 381, we want to target 380 and then 378 at the bottom of that 4 hour squeeze as we're about to open pretty much right in the middle. But luckily we've got a 1 hour squeeze to give us guidance in the middle of this 4 hour squeeze, meaning if we're going to break down, we'll start to push into that 1 hour squeeze, give a little pop up, reject, start to set new lows. We'll fire that 1 hour squeeze down into this 4 hour where we'll probably bounce and settle. But if we're going to fire it upside, we'll probably dip and test the bottom, start to get up to the top, pull back and set a higher low, start to push through, pull back and find support, and take off to fire to the upside. So just trying to envision how this 1 hour squeeze could unfold to fire up or down into the 4 hour squeeze, top or bottom. Tesla just getting beat up. Got below 110 yesterday, below 109, down to 104. So at least now they have a low to try to defend at this 104, 105. So that's currently your support. Let's go right about there, good enough. So that's your zone of support. If we start to give out that 104, 105, then we're coming down to test 195 and a half. Those are my next big key levels. But if we can hold up 110, get back over 112 and a half, and turn it into support, looking to get through 115, 120, in a bid to try to get back to 125, 126. UVXY. So, UVXY, you can see we kind of had a zone of support that pushed us up yesterday when we slipped down. Now we're right back at that zone of support, which is a good sign for potential upside today with this small gap up. So if we can very quickly give so for upside today, if we can stay below 7 and quickly give out 6.9, that is kind of going to give us the green light to the upside on the market. And we're looking for UVXY to get down to 6.8, maybe even down to 6.5. We do have last week's low near 6.7. And a daily squeeze bottom down there as well. So for upside, looking to give out and reject this zone and start to head down to recent lows into the bottom of this daily squeeze. But if we're going to potentially fire this 1 hour squeeze on the market to the downside, then we'll likely see UVXY get back over 7, get back to yesterday's highs near 7.2, and maybe try to push up to the daily 15 at 7.4, the daily 50 at about 7.6. On VIX. I got back below 22 and rejected yesterday, so for upside in the market, looking to stay below 22, looking to roll over and give out 21.4 and start to make the journey down to 21, 20 and a half at the bottom of this 2 hour squeeze, and maybe even down to 20, 19.75 at the bottom of this 4 hour squeeze. But if we are going to potentially fire this 1 hour squeeze to the downside or fire these wedges to the downside, then we'll likely see VIX hold above 21.5, get back above a 22, make its way near yesterday's highs, 22.5, on its journey up to 23, 23.3 at the top of that 2 hour squeeze. So that's it for today. Hopefully this was helpful for everybody. Gonna end it here. Good luck today, folks, and we'll see you in the chat.